A bachelor party, nominated for a Grammy Music Award, attending your own wedding, and doing it all completely alcohol-free. Some of you are listening to this now going, how the heck do you get through all of those things alcohol-free, especially the bachelor party, right? But that's how Jonah Vincent did it, or that's what he did. Jonah Vincent from North Carolina came to us where alcohol was slowing him down and compromising areas of his life. He joined our Project 90 program. And as we interviewed this, he's about 95 days or so alcohol-free. And like I said, he did a bachelor party, was nominated for a Grammy, and attended his own wedding, all booze-free. Jonah's a political consultant and a musician. He, by his own words, he builds relationships for a living and makes music. He's just been married to Junza, his wife, in Durham, North Carolina. And yeah, just nominated for a Grammy. He's worked with Lil Wayne and John Legend, who are legends of the music business. And he works with an independent artist, and the Grammy Award came for his work on a children's album, which I'll have him explain a little bit further. And really fascinating man, and so powerful that he's now been able to be alcohol-free, and that people in his community have seen him be alcohol-free and are now seemingly being influenced by that and are being impressed and are now starting to put alcohol in a different place in their mind. That is the power of being alcohol-free. It's not just impactful for you and your life, but it's also impactful on friends, acquaintances, and people in your community. Before we hit play on this conversation with Jonah Vincent, just a reminder that if you'd like my free alcohol freedom formula, it's a guide which I will email out to you. You can get that at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. And if you'd like to have a 15-minute verbal conversation with our Project 90 top coach, Victoria English, then you can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule. That is if you would like to entertain joining us in our 90-day quit drinking experience and spend time with some other high performers. And, you know, you're really serious. You're at that point now where you really want to do something about it. That's for folks who are mostly over the age of, say, 35. My experience is that folks under the age of 35 aren't really as committed to this as folks a little bit older. So for over 35s, and if you feel ready. All right, that's enough from me. Let's get into this wonderful conversation with Jonah Vincent, 38 years old, from Raleigh, North Carolina. Congratulations on being nominated for the Grammy, Jonah. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's really an amazing honor to be recognized by the Academy. As a musician, a lifelong musician, I started playing when I was about 12 years old, right? And so getting to the point here where through the Academy, the world kind of recognizes your work and says it's one of the best things that have been done or been recorded. As a musician, it's probably one of the highest honors you could probably get, and one of the best feelings that I've ever had. I mean, obviously, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but I got married the week before, and all these things kind of happening, and it's really one of the most beautiful moments I've ever experienced.
Incredible. Tell us about the children's album, because you told me before that you'd worked with some pretty famous people, but this album and what you were nominated for is pretty unique, I think. So just tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah. So my really good friend, a very good buddy of mine, Chris Freeline, he had this great idea. His father actually was the architect for the Black History Museum in Washington, D.C. He's done a bunch of, the main architect for a bunch of other buildings around the world. And we had this idea, he had this idea to come to do an album to give young, specifically Black kids, like a voice, right? And we started working on this record geared towards body autonomy, right? Just allowing kids to be able to say no if they don't want to do something or whatever that is, whatever they, however that, pulls together. Essentially, after we did the first record and we did a Grammy push, we came together and we decided that we wanted to do some more music together. And it was really just a beautiful moment. Like I said before, like working with Ross and working with John Legend and working with Lil Wayne and those folks, to have this be the moment that, that the world, quote unquote, recognizes is really humbling, and it's beyond proud and of everybody that was on the project and of Pierce and just, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for that. Yeah.
And then
It's a lot. I'm sorry, because I felt like I was kind of rambling on that space, but there's so many emotions that are here in that space. And so I'm just trying to, like, when I start to talk about it, it's a lot, man. It's a lot because you work your whole life to get here. And when you put something in an art form like that and you work your whole life and you invest in yourself and you believe in what it is that you're doing, and then to get to that point where the Academy says, yes, what you just did, what you sacrificed your whole life for, you know what I mean? We recognize this. It's one of the best things in the world. That's amazing. It's amazing.
I can only imagine. Yeah. Congratulations. And then you also got married recently as well. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind for you. It's been a pretty incredible time. Tell us a little bit about your wife and your marriage, which was an alcohol-free wedding as well, I understand.
Yeah. It was really, it's beautiful. My wife is amazing. She is a beautiful, wonderful, patient, endearing, loving person. And I felt like, I've had these conversations with some folks and I felt like, it was wild because me coming into this program had nothing to do with the conversation that her and I had, right? I felt the need to give her the best version of myself. And it's really beautiful now walking into this space with her, giving her the best version of me. And so she's amazing. The wedding was amazing. I mean, she did such a beautiful job, designing and putting all the decorations and things together. It was just really beautiful, man. I can't really put into words how grateful I am for the things that have kind of taken place in the moments. The people that I've met and my marriage is just like, it's beautiful, man. It really is.
And how did you get to the point where you're seemingly experiencing all of this being alcohol-free?
I wanted to do it differently. And that's really all I can really say about it. Because it was like, for me and alcohol and my experience just as a young person growing up in the spaces that I work in, political and music, I've always wanted to make sure that I put my best foot forward. For a while, what happened was alcohol kind of started to take control over that idea or that desire, right? And then I got to a space where I just wanted to stop. I wanted to just change. I saw a lot of my peers, my coworkers, I saw a lot of my family members deal with it. As a Black man, right? I have to tell you that this is something in my community, you know what I'm saying, that is very prevalent, and it tears down a lot of us. I know a whole lot of my peers. When we were doing the 90 days, I knew a lot of my peers that were going through it. And I just was thinking in my head, dang man, you just need access to this. You know what I'm saying?
You mean access to
To this
learning how
program.
to Project
Yeah.
90 or getting alcohol out of your life, tools, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, these tools, you just need the access. If you had the access, because you don't know what the thing was about it was the thing that was so beautiful about it. And excuse me, I'm sorry for being a little bit nervous because this is our first conversation. And then, for it to be on the podcast recording, and I'm sorry for it. But I want to make sure that I let you know this. Like, there are so many folks that look like me that are in my position that would benefit, right, from just having those tools because they don't know what it's doing to you. You don't know what it's doing to you because the way that sometimes our society and our community relates to it is, oh, we're going to brunch, we're going to have a good time, we're going to, we're going out Friday night, whatever. It's always associated with everything. And in a lot of our neighborhoods, it's on every single corner store. You know what I'm saying? Like it's on every single corner, right? And so that was when I was going through the night. That's what made it so powerful for me. That's what made me say, you know what, I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And stay because I want my peers to see me going through it and deal with it. And man, I'm telling you what, man. The funny part is, I had so many of my friends talk to me. They'd be like, man, bro, you look after like 15, 20, 30 days, hey man, bro, you got a glow to you, bro. And I'd be sitting there looking like, man, bro, I just put the bottle down. So I did. I put the bottle down. Like, come on, man, put the bottle down, man. It's all good. I mean, my boys were like, yo, man, dog, yo, John, you got a glow to you, bro. You got a little aura to you, bro. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, yo, man, that's what's up. You need to, I wish you had access to the same things that I'm getting access to right now. Because the amount of lives that could change from that, man. I mean, I was out in DC hanging out and alcohol free, you know what I mean? Eating good, drinking water. And then these girls are coming up and they are, executives and and they're Black, but it's just part of what, it's part of what we're doing. What we're doing right now is being young and being part of the scene and all that stuff like that. So it's really beautiful to kind of just step away from that and do something different. And I really want to implore you that what you're doing is there's a space and there are people who need what you're doing right now, just to create the community of folks that are trying to do better. It's beautiful, man. So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you. And what were some of the responses or reactions that you got from people when you said to them, I've put down the bottle?
Oh man, it ranged, honestly. It ranged. There were some folks that were, oh man, come on, you could have one more, whatever. That happened. There were folks that were like, oh, word, that's what's up. And they supported 100%. Those are my people that were closest to me. I think the real understanding, the real accomplishment for me personally was me doing it, right? And the response to myself, right, in those moments. It was me saying to myself, you're done with this. This is no longer your issue, or this is no longer is going to be the thing that holds you down or holds you back or the thing that you think about. So it was wild. I told Victoria, and I was sharing with the group one time, because I did so much, alcohol free. Like, you know what I mean by that is there were so many life events that were going on, right? For me, I had a bachelor party, I got married, I got, nominated for Grammy. All these things were happening. And I remember being at my bachelor party and saying to someone, they were like, "Oh, it's your bachelor party. Let's toast. We got to toast. We got to toast." And I was like, "Nah, I don't drink, and this is October, the beginning of October. I'm probably about 40 days in, right? And so for me, when I was able to say that to her, to the woman that asked me, I said, this feels good. So to go back to what you asked earlier, whose response, like how was everyone else's response? That's one thing, right? But how I responded to myself was the biggest thing. I was able to look at someone that asked me if I wanted a drink, and I was able to look at them and say, "I don't drink." And that was done. That was it.
Yeah. And you said it in such a way then that you didn't receive pushback on that.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So did you have the toast? Was there a toast anyway, but you just did it with water, or did they just cancel the toast part of it?
No. And the thing is like, and I've shared this in the group as well. The funny thing, and this is because we're having this conversation one-to-one, and you and I haven't had the opportunity to speak with you. But I'm one of those people that is like, I don't care about what everybody else is doing. Like, if I say that I'm going to do something, then I'm going to do it. That's my attitude. That's in my DNA, right? Or who I am. And so the reason why I said that is because, like, if as soon as I said I don't drink, right, then everybody around me knows whatever. Y'all can do whatever you're going to want to do, but don't toast to me. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I don't, and me and Raj I had a conversation with Raj. We were talking, it was very similar. I had a conversation very similar to that. And we were like, "Yo, listen, I got friends of mine that drink, and they do, they drink, and they have, they drink a lot. I used to drink with them, but it's funny because if I say, like, when I make the decision not to do it, then that's my decision, and I don't care." And I know, like, me and Raj were having a conversation. It's like, "Well, what do you do when your friends want to drink? Or what do you do when your best buds around you, want to have a beer?" You know what I'm saying? And are they trying to coerce you to come in to, "Oh, come on, man, just toast it." And it's like, man, I said something one day, and I was like, "Yo, I don't care, man. I'll tell them, without me saying I don't want to," but I would say to them, like, tell them, "F you, bro." You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't have a problem telling you that. Yeah, I mean, that's a big, that was a big part of it for me, making the decision and then having the space to kind of build myself up into that,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you've done bachelor parties. You've been nominated for a Grammy, which would have been an opportunity for you to celebrate in a traditional way, I guess, as most people might celebrate, go and pop champagne and go out and have a big party. And then you've had a wedding.
Yeah.
And then you've also had friends, it sounds like, encouraging you to just have a drink, and you've managed to do all of this alcohol-free. That's a pretty incredible accomplishment. Tell me a little bit about, well, I'm actually curious about your wedding, how you were able to have an alcohol-free wedding. Were your guests drinking? Did you provide alcohol? Where was the wedding? What is your, tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, man. And that's really something for me. Like I said before, I kind of have this attitude, like I said, like where if I make a decision to do something, then that's what, and excuse my French, that's what the fuck I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to do that shit.
Mm.
But I also was really intentional about making sure that my guests could do what they wanted to do too. We had an we had an open bar. We had an open bar at the wedding. Folks drank to their heart's desire. But my decision, you know what I'm saying, was absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing. And the thing is that I've got really great people around me. My friends, my brother, my cousins that were all in the wedding, everybody that was there, they knew when I told them, I said, yo, I'm not drinking. I only had to tell them a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like they were trying to get me to do it. And so I'm lucky and I'm blessed to be able to be around folks like that support my decision. But it was difficult, man. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It was difficult. It was hard to maneuver that space. Okay, let me specify. It wasn't hard to maneuver in that particular moment. The idea or the thought of it coming, right, was the hardest part. And so what I mean by that is the actual moment of there being alcohol and me being at the wedding and everything, you know, that was easy. The thought coming into it was hard to kind of deal with. Oh man, how's it going to feel next week when I get married? I don't know. And all that is the hardest part. But the moment was easy. That was fine. I didn't even think about it. Didn't think about alcohol at all. You know, didn't think about wanting to drink or the desire. I had no desire. Had no, you know what I'm saying? But the thought of it, me thinking about it beforehand was what was the hardest part. And to be honest, like that same concept for all of this process, right? Thinking about, man, what am I going to miss out on? Or what am I going to do? Or how am I going to handle this situation? And not really just dealing with the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like actually living in the moment. Because in the moment, you really don't. The truth is, I didn't want it. And I woke up the next morning and I remembered, I told somebody this. I said, I remember everything that happened. You know what I'm saying? like your wedding day is a blur. Your wedding day is a blur. But if you stop yourself and say, okay, what happened at this time? What happened? You're going to remember that if you were sober. If you weren't, I already know. And it would have been a blur. I would have known anything that was going on, you know? So I was just glad to be able to give that to my wife, you know what I'm saying? And be able to say, you know, I was glad to be able to give that part of myself or my whole entire self to her in that moment, and us, and just, so that's all.
Tell us a little bit about your wife. What's her name and what does she do? And what is it about her that you love so much? And what has her response been to her now husband choosing to be alcohol-free?
Yeah. Janza, Janza is a beautiful woman, man. We are a little older now, you know, getting married, settling down, but older than traditionally, right? But you know, I will say to anyone, like, believe in the person that is for you, like the person in your mind that you have, this imaginary person that you came up with in your head. That's the perfect person. They're there. You know what I'm saying? That person exists. And I'm going to tell you that because I got married to her. You know what I mean? She's beautiful. She's amazing. Yeah, I can't really put into words, but she works with folks, insurance. She's a fashion designer, and also works for Fidelity. She works like it's hard to explain. Like she's the intermediary, if you will, for folks with their insurance claims. And so she deals a lot with folks day to day and things like that. It was just another thing about, having a few drinks, coming home, right? And then understanding that your partner's been through so much today. How do you handle that? Right? How do you handle that? Like your partner's dealt with somebody they've been talking to 3, 4, 5 people all day long that have lost loved ones, and their people that, their husband died and blah, 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 and they've got to unload this on you because you're their partner. You know what I mean? And if you're dealing with alcohol, you can't really deal with that. You know what I mean? Like you can't, not emotionally, But yeah, she's great. She's wonderful. I feel like you're kind of putting me on the spot, man. I smile ear to ear when anybody mentions her. She's amazing. So.
And what has she shared with you about you being alcohol free? Has she given you feedback about how she's experienced you?
Yeah. I mean, just hearing your loved ones and with her, like just saying something simple like, I'm proud of you. And I don't want to say it as if that doesn't get said other than that, right? This journey is a self journey. All the things that we receive from other people, it was really dope, man. One of the sessions that we had on the Zoom call, I think Victoria was talking about the validity of your life, right? My wife tells me she's proud of me all the time. She says amazing things to me all the time. It's a matter of whether or not I feel I have the ability or feel the capability of accepting that. And then, when alcohol was in the way, that was the thing that was making me not be able to accept, you know what I mean? The good that was coming my way, the good words or the good things, and so when she would say, I'm proud of you, now it resonates different. I know that, she appreciated me, especially this last 3 months. Geez, I mean, I couldn't have picked a better time to do it because it was like we were planning the wedding and all these things. And I was like, man, just being able to actually 100% be present in the moment all the way through, through the planning and the process of planning the wedding and organizing it and making sure that everybody had, was in place. And I can't stress to you how important it is, you know what I'm saying? Just to be of clear mind and to be present in those particular moments, so that those life events, you can absorb them and kind of and can take them all the way in. So yeah. But she's been amazing, and she's told me 1,000 times how proud she is of me. You know what I mean? So
terrific. And what's the intention now with regards to alcohol in your life?
That's something that I thought about a lot. Some folks that, you have that conversation in your mind. And like I said, you create the big bad wolf, right? The big bad wolf is what you're going to do when you're 100 days out or New Year's Eve, man. You know what I mean? The truth is that in the moment, do what you want to do. And for me, having been able to take off the 90 days, for me, what that equates to is I'm saying, yo, I really like waking up in the morning and feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really enjoy that. Like, I know that about myself now. Going through the 90 days, I know I like waking up in the morning and feeling good.
Yeah.
I know how cool alcohol was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. You know what I mean? I get that. But I also know how great I felt yesterday and the day, and I know how good I'm going to feel in the morning. I just enjoy that way more. And the other part is, man, James, I'll tell you this, bro. You can't run from the scars. You know what I'm saying? You can't run from your scars. Like I look at myself, I look where I've been, I look where I come from, I look how this whole process and what this has done for me. And I'm like, man, I can't run from the scars that were created from before. You know what I'm saying? I've got to wear those. I've got to wear them. You know what I'm saying? It's not that now for me personally, it's not that I don't want to drink anymore. I'll tell you straight up, I could say, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a whole group of people that can, and that's fine. I can't, and that's a scar. That's fine that's okay with me, and that's what these 90 days is kind of showing me. Like, it's okay to say, I can't do that. The way that my makeup is, the way that my setup is, I can't do that, and that's the beautiful thing about it. You know what I'm saying? And then what got me to that place was waking up in the morning, feeling really, really good, beating my boys. Like when I was at my bachelor party, man, they went ham. I mean, they went crazy. They did, bro. And they woke up the next morning. We had tickets to the football game. We went to the Eagles-Panthers game. I was the first one up in the house. Jumped up, made coffee. I wrote a note to all of them on the door, on the chalkboard. I wrote them a note. Yo, wake up, blah 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 blah. This is what we gotta do. I was up, and it felt good. I texted Raj. I was like, hey man, I'm up. These guys asleep. You know what I'm saying? I got on the Marco Polo, and I was like, hey man, these folks is up. They're asleep. It just feels good to be able to seize the day, and to actually to feel good the whole day long. Like, you're going to sleep and you wake. When you get ready to lay down tonight, and it's 8:00 here. I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to wind down to go to sleep, and I know I'm going to wake up feeling good in the morning. And that sounds so trivial and simple, right? But that's what alcohol takes away from you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what it takes away from you.
Right.
You don't know how you're gonna feel in the morning. You're rolling the dice.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I don't ever want to feel like that again. That's not something that I'll ever put myself in that position.
Mm.
And I've thought about that, because even if I had drinks later in my life or later on, I know how good I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how good you feel. You'd have to there's no reason to continue to do that. Like, don't do that to yourself.
Mm. Beautiful. Well, it seems like, based on what you've shared, that doing Project 90, choosing to be alcohol-free, engaging in our community has worked out for you, and has certainly, it sounds like, improved many different areas of your life. So congratulations, and I want to acknowledge you for your commitment and for your positive energy that you brought to the group. Coach Victoria, who you've referenced a few times in this interview, she's obviously our top coach at Project 90, and she's always spoken incredibly highly of you, and always saying, oh, I love Jonah. And I think it's because you've been so supportive of other members, and you've allowed yourself to be coached, and you've coached others by being vulnerable and opening up. So I acknowledge you, Jonah, and congratulations on your success so far.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate what you've done and what you're doing. I told Jim, and I told Victoria as well. I've followed you, for a while, on Instagram. I think probably it's got to be since 2015. I mean, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I've been following a while, and got to the point where we're here now, and the work, the thing that being about the business of people you know what I mean, is really great. Hope and whatever I can do, personally and professionally, whatever I can do to help you spread this message, to help spread this sort of awareness is something that I think I'm personally would be invested in, and something that I think is most certainly needed, especially when I see my peers, maneuvering our spaces. I wish that we could just stop at some point and be like, hey, take a look at what you're doing right now, because to live this way, alcohol free, and to put that bottle down just for a second, for 90 days, to reevaluate your relationship. That was the key. And that's really what I want. And I apologize, because that's really what I wanted to say this whole time during this interview. You reevaluated, had a chance to reevaluate your relationship with alcohol. Like, why do you drink so much? Or why do you do, what is it that you're trying? And that was the space that was created for me, at least, you know what I mean? And so I think like there's so many more people that can benefit from that, from that opportunity. So appreciate what you're doing, man. It's beautiful. It's God's work, man. And I don't think it's a coincidence that, I got married to the love of my life and saw something come down like a Grammy nomination all within those 90 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's it's not a coincidence.
Incredible. Amazing. Well, thank you, Jonah. So appreciate you sharing your journey with us and with our listeners. And thank you, like I said before, for being such a positive influence in our Project 90 group, and wishing you continued success, mate, not just with your health, but also in your career and your music and your marriage and everything that comes with it. So thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I want to load you up with some free stuff. If you look in the show description, there's a link there to get my guide, which is the Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide. And in that guide, I will walk you through the process and system for successfully reducing or quitting alcohol. It's the same system and process that I give to my clients inside of Project 90. And if you would like to get your hands on that guide, you can click the link in the description part of this episode, or you can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. Likewise, if you would like to be considered for Project 90 to join our community and get some accountability, some coaching, and have fun, achieve some goals over at least 90 days with our help and support, then you're invited to schedule a complimentary coaching call with one of my coaches. You can do that by clicking the link in the show description or going to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule. Now, Project 90 is for over 30s only. And it's really for people who are ready to get long-term power over alcohol. You don't have to quit forever, but you will have to quit for at least 90 days with our support. Just a reminder, 95% of my content is free and plastered all over the internet. If you just Google James Swanwick and the word alcohol, you'll find that. For those of you who want additional support, if you want coaching, fun, accountability, if you realize that you can't do this on your own or you just plain don't want to, then I invite you to schedule that call and we can talk about if Project 90 is for you. If you would like to take some of my supplements, swanvitality.com is the website. I'll put a link in the show notes as well. I have a liver support product called Loving Liver, which I designed and specially formulated to help remove toxins from your liver after years of alcohol consumption. Again, there's a link in the show description. We've also got a green powder there, which turns into a green juice filled with amazing ingredients to support you and give you energy throughout the day. And there's also a magnesium product, which I take every night to help me prepare for sleep and to sleep through the night. So there's a few options there. Lastly, if this episode or the show in general has helped you or supported you in any way, I would so appreciate it if you would write a review. It really does help the show climb the rankings and expose the show to people who don't yet know about us.
So if this show has benefited you in any way and you feel compelled to pay it forward, just writing a short little review, hopefully a nice one, will be so appreciated, and I will thank you immensely. Lastly, if you'd like to talk to me about anything at all, feel free to send me an email at james@alcoholfreelifestyle.com. I do read and respond to every email. And you can also follow me on Instagram at James Swanwick. Send me a message there. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Catch you on the next one.